about just that fourth spot. Do you think that City, United and Leicester are pretty much guaranteed?
I don't think Leicester are guaranteed. They're kind of in the same position as they were after 29 games last season, where they were 8th and the 7th at the moment after the same time. And I just feel like the same thing's happening. It's going to be up to them if they can kind of learn from what happened. But in respects of United as well, they're so inconsistent. I think they've done enough. But I feel Chelsea. I'm liking Chelsea at the minute. And I feel that Chelsea on the kind of run where Champions League, and I also mentioned to Jonathan in the green room, I think that they're going to have they've got a good time. They're in a good moment at the minute, Chelsea.
So you think there might be 2 spaces up for grabs? One of them could be taken by Chelsea?
Yeah, I think so.
OK.
I think so. I think it might be Leicester.
Rachel Brown-Finnis and Jonathan Northcroft are here as well. Rachel, what do you think? Is it 3 and then 1 spare place, or do you think that third one might be up for grabs as well?
I do agree with Righty that Chelsea seem to have found like that gear that they were chopping around. Sometimes they look like that kind of real Rolls Royce of a machine, and Lampard had really found something, and then, you know, in other times they fell short of quality as well as endeavour. And what Tuchel's brought, however you choose to pronounce the name, because I can never quite get it right, he's just brought an element of consistency from day one, you know, from performers, consolidating what they do, from consistency of personnel that he's putting out. And I think there seems to be a real belief in what he's brought. You know, he said, right, this is what we're going to do, A, B and C. Everybody's bought into it straight away. And straight away, they're looking like they're getting, well, they are getting, sorry, they're getting the points on the board. And they're certainly moving in that momentum, that upward trajectory. Whereas Leicester, you know, Brendan Rodgers, I think, is a phenomenal coach. Don't think anyone doubts that. But they've had a little bit of a stop-start period recently.
Yeah, they've had some problems with injuries.
With injuries,
could end up costing them as well. So I think what it's sounding like is there is only maybe 1 spot available, but it might be Leicester's position that's in doubt.
Yeah, I'd be gutted for Leicester if they didn't do it. I think they deserve the Champions League, given what they've done in the last 2 seasons. But I do agree, if any of the top 3 are going to fall out, they've got bad fixtures to come. They've got that thinner squad than the rest. Yeah. I think getting their players back from international break, particularly like Tielemans, fit, it's going to be really important to them. So I think they will hold on, but they are the most vulnerable. And I agree, Chelsea are probably the best team apart from Manchester City in the country at the moment since Tuchel took over. They've got an amazing squad, and he's just getting the best out of them. I think they're almost more likely to be that top 4 than Leicester. It's almost between Leicester and, let's say, Spurs, Liverpool, West Ham for that 4th spot. Yeah,
let's take a look then at the top of the table and sort of get an idea of the state of play. So Manchester City, far clear. It feels like just a match of time for them now. Manchester United, 57 points. Leicester on 56. And Chelsea on 51. So interestingly, with 9 games to go, that you all feel so confident about Chelsea and Leicester. With Leicester, it is, of course, as you say, about the fixtures that they've got coming up as well. And then it's West Ham, Tottenham, Liverpool with 46 points, Everton on 46 points. But they do have a game in hand. How far down are we looking in terms of Champions League qualification, do you think?
I think
you noticed I stopped before Arsenal.
Yeah, I was really gutted you did that. But I think that you can't write Liverpool off just because of the quality of their team. And, you know, with West Ham, with what they've done the other day against Arsenal after being through, they have to win that game. But
the thing is, if you're talking about Liverpool and you're saying that Leicester might be the team that are going to drop out, that's 10 points they've got to catch up over 9 games.
Yeah, but the fact is that Liverpool and the players they've got and the inconsistency and what we saw with West Ham there, we don't know what's going to happen with Leicester, especially Leicester in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. You know, I'll be starting to maybe look more towards that, but I'm sure that Brendan Rodgers is probably more top 4 Champions League centric than maybe the FA Cup, which is a shame. But you can't just write Liverpool off with the amount of quality that they have got, and the fact that they could save their season themselves by doing something, you know, the Champions League wise. But I don't know. I think that it goes down to. I'm going to go down to Liverpool. I think West Ham's performance the other day. I don't think they're going to make it.
Yeah, so it means that you have to include Everton then, because they've got the same number of points and have played a game less.
Yeah, but Everton and the way Everton are playing, again, when it gets to this stage of the season, there's certain games that you have to win, and you have to see teams off. And this is why I worry for Everton, I worry for West Ham and Everton. Can they go into that stretch, what teams like Chelsea are used to doing? We know that Leicester have done it because 2015, and they proved that they can see it off, but I'm not sure if West Ham and Everton can do that.
We'll look at the individual teams in just a second, but the other thing to take into account, and you've already mentioned it there, is Champions League and Europa League football, which a lot of the teams in the battle for that 4th Champions League place are going to be involved in as well. So if you're not playing in that, if you're, for example, no, it's a perfect opportunity for Leicester with them sitting in 3rd place in the table. However, when you look at Chelsea, they're 5 points behind Leicester, but everybody said they think they're the team who are almost guaranteed to take on this top 4 spot, and it might be Leicester who are the team who are vulnerable. What do you think about Chelsea and the run-in that they've got between now and the end of the season?
I think that their manager and the way he's solidified the team, they're not conceding a lot of goals, they're not scoring a lot of goals, but when you're not conceding as well, then you know you've got the capability of nicking one, then you're probably going to do okay. I think that from now, Chelsea, you know, when you look at what they've got there, I probably fancy them all the way down to City, no problem, and they'll probably give City a game. Even Arsenal, to be honest. And, you know, but the fact is, you look
City,
at
depending on results, City might have done it by then.
Yeah, they may have, but what you're looking at those games is the way that Chelsea are playing and how well they're defending. Kante back where we know that he does his best work. The way they're passing it, the ball, the way they're moving it, how quickly the defense. It's just comes down to.
And neither's really delivered at all. You know, there's been a reaction since Tuchel came in, not from those two in particular, but across the whole team. We've seen them, you know, get on a real momentum, and I think that's the biggest thing with Chelsea, and why we're thinking that they're going to move forward and kind of get the bit by the teeth and really supersede Leicester in getting into that 4th position and keep that place, is because momentum's such a powerful thing. Like, remember the year when Leicester won the title? It was all about, you know, it wasn't about necessarily superstars, it was about a collective mentality of we're just going to win every game. And that's all about belief and getting on that momentum. And I think Chelsea seem to have those early signs of that happening. You know, whether, going back to Werner and to Havertz, whether they'll stick around beyond, you know, this season. We've got some big names that have been touted around the Premier League. And he'll be super exciting, and whichever club he ends up at, then, you know, that might mean one of those needs to get shipped out to afford that.
I don't think they'll do that with Havertz. I think Havertz is somebody that, ability-wise, I think we've got so much to see from him. Now they tried to play him in that false 9, you know, but I like him in and around there, but they need that player further forward for him. Werner is somebody that I feel.
But this is a pattern with Chelsea. It doesn't matter who the manager is. It doesn't matter what sort of system they play. This is a pattern. Why? Like, it's not a pattern that's easily explained either. That Chelsea struggle to find that goal scorer.
I know, but like I have to say, like with what Rachel said there about Werner and Havertz, I think that for me, I'm probably going to keep Havertz. But if it carries on like it is with Werner, and you can do a swap deal and get somebody else, at some stage, there's no way, I don't believe, that they're not thinking something in that. I would be thinking, because I'm thinking it now, and I'm not in the recruitment with Chelsea, because at some stage they have to get the goal scoring situation right. You know, they've got it right defensively, they've got it right in front of the defence. You know, Mount and everybody, you know, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Ziyech, Christian Pundits, they've got everything there, John. So you're thinking at some stage they're going to have to make that call on the centre forward.
I think they're looking at Haaland. I mean, everyone wants Haaland.
Despite the fact his family have said, his camp have said that
Spain
he's probably
first.
going to be going to Spain. And then,
well, he can choose where he goes, can't he? But, you know, we hear that they're making a proper push, like a few other clubs are. And that's exactly why they don't have that absolute guaranteed
I don't
striker.
think they can wait around, Jonathan, as well, Chelsea. They have to start getting that goal scorer to push them where they want to be. They can't wait.
To win the league, but I think they could certainly, if we're looking at the run-in, even with Werner misfiring, they can bring Giroud off the bench, or they can put Hudson-Odoi in, or Pulisic. I mean, they've got enough options to be in this top 4. The options they've got are frightening. And they might just, I agree about Werner, I'm not sure about him, but because they've got so much else, they might just get away with it this season, sort it out in the summer.
Yeah, might get away with it this season. You're all fairly confident that they are finishing in the top 4. However, less sure about Tottenham, and in terms of the teams who are going to miss out, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, Jonathan, that really, with everything that's gone on at Tottenham, bringing Mourinho in to bring them success, the players that have come in, it feels as though it's something that he's wanted. There's been the sort of cherry on the cake of Gareth Bale returning to Tottenham. Does it feel as though they should be in the top four? Is this a failure?
Without a doubt, you know, and given the position they were in, I think in November, coming into December, you know, they had a great advantage that they frittered away. And I think back to that Crystal Palace game where they had they were 1-0 up, and he went defensive. Yeah. And it's Palace, and you're like, why are you doing that? Yeah. And it's what Wrighty says about that kind of cautiousness that some managers have got and they just can't get away from. Yeah. And I think that's Jose Mourinho's story. And that's you know,